depends on the most, isn't it? Residents of the room, ex-members will say.
What's that now? I think Paul said he would be late.
That's 5 exhibitions. 3 in Liverpool and 2 in
Okay, ladies and gents, make it half. Okay, ladies and gents, I make it pass. Just to point out that the meeting is currently being recorded, and the council can decide whether or not it wants to publish that recording. So sort of the public gallery, if you like, is being recorded at the moment.
Is the council one?
Sorry?
Is the council recording though?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not talking about this one?
No, I'm talking about these. So first of all, before we open the council meeting, welcome to the people standing for co-option. And what we'll do is we'll start off by taking, we'll take apologies in the main council meeting. Are there any councillors present that have any interests to declare in the co-option process?
Apart from the fact that we know them all.
Sorry?
Apart from the fact that we know them all.
You know them all?
Yeah.
That would be to an extent where you need to declare an interest? Or?
Microphone, please, Stuart.
John. Sorry, to the extent where you feel you need to declare an interest.
Well, that won't affect my judgment anyway.
Yeah, the difference, John. If you know people, you've got to declare an interest.
Have you?
Yeah, that's part of the process.
Oh, right. Well, I know Bernard. And I know Elaine.
I know Mr. Bogus, I know Dan Graham, I know Philip Bowers, they're all here.
So you've got to declare a personal interest.
That's what he's doing. That's what John's doing. Yep.
I'm saying I'm at 3.
Okay. So Stuart and then we'll say Chris.
I know one, spoken to one, and someone not here that might turn as a personal interest.
Great. Chris, did you so that you?
I know Bernard.
Okay. And Clive.
I know Mr. Frogger, Mrs. Graham, Mr. Bowers.
And Colin.
I know Bernard and Elaine is not here.
Okay. Any other declarations?
I know Richard.
I don't know anyone.
Sorry. What's up?
I said you might be the only one who's voting.
So what we'll do is we'll just take each of the candidates in the order that they appear in our packs. We'll invite each person in turn to give a short speech, if you will, and then we'll have a brief opportunity for councillors to ask questions of people standing for co-option. Then what will happen is that councillors who wish to will just briefly retire to the middle hall to discuss the candidates, and then we'll come back. We'll vote on the candidates in public and on the video as well. Any questions about the co-option process before we start? Okay, thank you very much. So the first candidate that we've got is Diane Graham.
I think it would be first alphabetical.
Would you like a microphone, Diane? Chris?
I don't think I need a microphone.
We've got some members that are slightly hard of hearing. So.
It's okay. I could clear a playground at 10 paces. Sorry. Do you mind if I stand?
No.
I'm much more comfortable standing, if that's okay with everybody, to do a presentation. Why do I want to join Anston Parish Council? I've lived in Anston since 1969, which to my calculation is 47 years.
Do you think you'll like it?
I think I could have, as I have 2 adult children who were brought up in the village, who were educated locally and have now moved back from London into the area. So I think we like it. I've seen Anston grow from a small village as part of Kiverton Park Rural District Council, believe it or not, to a satellite of Sheffield, Rotherham, Leeds, Doncaster and even Nottingham, due to improved road networks. However, Anston is still essentially a village, which under Rotherham Borough Council seems to have been forgotten, as Rotherham concentrates on central areas.
Here.
The roads that lead to Anston are worn and full of potholes, whilst local estates have new roads and pavements repairs. I know it's all down to funding, but someone decides where it is spent. Likewise, grass cutting. Since I retired from teaching at Dinnington Comprehensive School 12 years ago, I had to occupy myself being a volunteer for Samaritans and a support worker for Victim Support Doncaster, visiting victims of crime and accompanying witnesses into court. I am no longer doing this due to other commitments. I am a founder member of Dinnington Bridge Club and play regularly. I was until recently an active member of Todwick Ramblers and have walked almost all the footpaths within the parish boundary, so I do know the parish extremely well. I am a member of Anston Bowling Club, having been secretary, as you probably know, from my letters for the past 3 years. I have attended the annual parish meetings, parish council meetings from time to time. As I said, Anston is essentially a village, and whilst Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council would see it merge with Dinnington, I have always opposed large developments which would impact on local services and businesses. For example, Tesco's at the Cutler. I have been asked on numerous occasions to become a parish councillor by members present here and parishioners. Perhaps it is now time for me to do so, if you consider me a suitable applicant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any councillors have any questions?
I'm not too happy about the references to grass cutting and potholes and metropolitan wood kicks, but I'll take that one. I'll take that one in the gym. It's a recreational hazard.
Next candidate is Philip Bowers.
Councillors, if you don't mind, if you'd like to pass on, thank you. This will speak a little bit for itself, what I am and what I've achieved. I am proud to say I moved in Anston in 1978 in October. My father was a mining engineer, so I was brought to this area because he was the mechanical engineer at Manton Colliery. So I moved literally districts to come here. Now, I'm proud to say it grew in my heart from where I came from to come here, and it's grew ever since. And I've been a proud member of this community, and I'm proud to say it's been a village I grew up in, loved, and still today a part of our village. As you can see from my awards, myself, I won Volunteer of the Year last year, which was awarded by the Lord Lieutenant. It's an award ceremony in Rotherham. I've been a volunteer for a long time with the homeless. I've done homeless work throughout Rotherham Borough for 18 years or more. I'm this bespoke officer now at Rotherham Fire Station, which I do for vulnerable people with dementia, alcohol, people at risk. I visit quite regularly on my rare occasion to go and make sure they're okay and safe in their own home. There's not much at Rotherham I don't know, mainly because I can go there, but I'm proud to say to be in this part. I was bequeathed last year, my son won the Spirit of Youth for Courage, and we went to the Park Plaza Hotel in London, put on by the government, and he was awarded it for youth for bravery of the Prime Minister as it was at the time. Now, due to my own helping, what I've done for many years, this year I was fortunate the Lord Lieutenant invited me on behalf of the Chancellor's Office to go to the Palace in recognition of my efforts, what I've done to make a difference in Rotherham. How to make a change in Rotherham is basically do something different. Don't follow, make me for me, do something different, but make it different so everyone can see. I still do a lot today. I've been up to my homeless project. I'm back on duty again tomorrow, which I'm now at Lifewise where I'm based. But the other one is, what is awesome, I am a forever daddy. Me and my wife are forever mummy and daddies. We have adopted children from Rotherham Council, borough itself. Out of 4 children, I have got 2 for my own, for me and my wife, but I have got 2 children. One is very special needs. He has got 3rd-degree burns on 80% of his body. He's been left with brain damage and cerebral palsy. So he's been privileged that we've actually got him out of a foster home into a family home. I am fortunate here in Anston. We've got a lot of people in Anston who are quite, "Hiya Phil, how's Joe doing?" It is great. The support what we've found from our village has been paramount over these years. And it's one of the best decisions then. I adopted a little girl who's got genetic problems, but yet again, we've got a good rally of friends. Main thing is I'm a governor at Newman Special Needs School, Congregation School. I am the health and safety governor there, which I keep on time to make sure our children are kept okay and safe, which I think they can't. What I always say is they might not have a voice like my son, but they've got a voice while I'm here. And I will represent the children with all special needs forever and a day because they are as important as everybody else. Saying that, there's a lot of people in this village I visit professionally, what sometimes just need somebody to knock at the door and say, "Can I have a cup of tea, see if you're okay?" And I deal with that every day of the week, and I'm proud. But most thing is, I've grew up in this village, I've fetched 4 children into this village, and as a family, we've found in this village, we've got a lot of support. If not off of friends, off of the medical staff up at Dinnington and at North Anston, some of the doctors are personal friends because I grew up in a village, and that is what you do. Dr. Barley or Dr. Burks, you know them because they lived on the same streets as you. If you'd like to answer any questions, I would be willing to. If you want to ask me any questions about anything special, anything you need, I'm here, please. Please.
Thank you very much. Question?
I'm going to ask a question. If I'm wrong by doing this, I apologise. On the form you filled in, there's some things you've not filled in that have to be clarified by law. Sorry, go on.
Fine. If I haven't, that's due to because I'm dyslexic. I have got in my bag, I have got a blue sheet. I usually...
I'll ask you a couple of questions.
No
if you answer them, that will clarify that.
Yeah,
It's not for other reasons, just across the...
No problems at all. Councillor.
At the date of application to the parish council, are you a local government elector from the parish? Are you on the electoral roll?
Yes, I am, yes.
You're on the electoral and you can vote?
Yes, yeah.
Right, okay, that's that one. Because if you're not, you see, that throws things on the line. The other one was...
I think we just spotted the same...
Yeah.
Yes, and my apologies.
It's not a problem. If you answer the right way, as it were, to these, it's not an issue. It's just clarification, right?
Stuart, I'm just thinking that... Sorry to interrupt you. Maybe the ones on disqualifications are best just double checked with...
Right, please.
yeah, we can.
Right, I'll tell you what
Please.
I'm going to ask. I won't about do that. I'm going to ask the one at the bottom that needs to be answered.
That is,
And that one and that one need to be answered. How do you do it?
It's just your application
Fine.
was just missing a couple of tick boxes.
Fine, no
But
problem.
rather than ask you some potentially sort of difficult questions in,
not to hide.
in public and on film, we'll just get the clerk at the end. Once
Fine,
everybody's
no
given
problem,
their,
sir, also.
their talks, just to double check your answers to the questions.
It's got a legal purpose.
Fine, not a problem. I usually have a blue acetate I put over my when I'm reading at work.
So that no problem.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Philip. Firstly, you sound like a village superstar to me, with your resume and what you've done and what you do. Which leads me to a question. Do you think, due to all your commitment, you clearly have a lot of commitments out there, do you think that you'll have the time to give the parish council that it needs to do?
Yes, I do. For in the
You're
day.
aware of what sort of
Yeah, I do, yeah. I only volunteer, so one of these things I might be 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Just depends on what it is, so that ain't a problem at all for me.
Can I just ask a question? I know Mrs. Graham said in her speech that she attended meetings.
Sorry, Clive, I can't see.
Sorry, Chris. Stuart just asked you questions. I know you've probably never been to a parish council meeting before. I just wonder if you're quite aware how it functions, or in our case sometimes it doesn't function. But it's just the fact that, as I say, if people have been, then as Stuart said, or sorry, Darren said, it's just making sure you've got that time to commit to it, because at the moment we're still in the council then, but we've got a lot of work coming up, and it means people have got to be, able to get stuck in straight away. So
That ain't a problem.
I know what you're like, but just making people aware of what they're getting. I'm trying to phrase this nicely, getting themselves into it can sound like, does it? But if you know what I mean, as to what you're expected to do, hopefully if you go on at the end of it. So just people being aware of what they're going to be asked to do and get involved in. But that's okay. I mean, I think Darren's clarified that with what he's asked there. So.
Fully aware what the role would intake. I can gather that from the resident of the reading of things.
Yeah.
And like I said, as a governor, I know ours is only every 2 months in our school, and this is once a month, and it's like, lovely. I don't know, I have got enough commitment at home.
Yeah, well, it's slightly more than that now. We have more committees, so there's probably 4 or 5 meetings a month, I think it's fair to say.
Still won't be a problem, because at night time I don't do anything anyway.
It was just the way you put everything across, you sound like a really busy chap. Doing a lot of good things as well, by the way, so please carry that on.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for it.
Further comments?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello.
I'd just like to say that I was born in Anston quite a while ago in 1949. Lived on West Street, moved on to Millrace, then married, got children, grandchildren. I have had my own businesses. I've worked for high-profile companies. I do voluntary work, but obviously I do it without letting too many people know. I don't need to let people know what to do. I just do it. We have situation in Anston where exactly the same as other people said, it's grown since I was a young man, and obviously I can honestly say I'm more of an organiser of events. I helped organise the Woodsetts Millennium Festival back in 2000, which is obviously from the name. We organised that from scratch. We never had any input from anyone other than voluntary people working, and also grants. But it did prove to be quite successful in the early years. I was chairman for 5 years. We had up to 30 people working together, and it did work out very well. But obviously that's in the past. The future, it wants someone really, I think, to grasped the nettle and really sought the situation in Anston out. From previous meetings I've been to, it wasn't coherent. It was a little bit distorted and disorientated, but I think I could help on the organisation side. As I say, I've been the director of a company in Northampton. We employed 30 people there. Retired 12 months ago, and obviously we part of the community. We don't, I say, go out telling people what we do. We just do it, and we do it to the benefit of the community, in my opinion. But other than that, I don't know if there's any other questions you have.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions from councillors? Thank you very much. Again, the clerk might have a couple of questions for you, because you've only got one part of your form in the pack.
Me?
All right. Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, it's
Are you sure?
yeah, it's... Mr. Wilkins. But don't worry, it's not a problem. Don't worry. You're just missing some information off the front, but it's not a problem. So I think
It looks like it might be a problem with photocopying. It's actually my pack's now missing. Is missing the cover sheet for the next candidate.
I wonder why it wasn't done.
Is it Richard Wilkins?
Give me up.
Hiya.
Hiya. Yeah, my name's Richard Wilkins. I can't claim to have lived in the village for as long as some of the people here, but what I can tell you is I grew up in Anston. I went through the school process. I lived on the Backle estate in South Anston for 18 years of my life before moving away for work. I've moved back 3 years ago now, and I reside on Yeoman's Way in South Anston. Essentially, why do I want to join the council? Wherever I've lived, I've tried to aid the community. I lived in Wandsworth in London, in one of the roughest boroughs, and I tutored underprivileged kids, a voluntary scheme on a Saturday morning to improve their GCSE results. When I lived in Leeds, I helped build a community garden in Horsforth. It's just something that I'd like to do, and something that I think I should do as a member of the community to give back. In terms of who I am and what I do, I'm a senior business analyst working for Tier 1 and Tier 2 investment banks, places such as HSBC, JP Morgan, Bank of America. I'm self-employed, so they contract me on a consulting basis to essentially help them plan, programme and problem solve within their businesses. That's one of the main reasons that I think I'd like to be considered for the council. My career is problem solving, coming up with innovative solutions, looking at problems in a way that will aid who I work for, but in this case aid the community. I think from what I've seen of the council, and I've not been to many meetings, but I do, being of an internet generation, I do watch all of the meetings online on the YouTube channel. I find them strangely riveting. I find that the council does good work, and I believe that the community comes first. And being able to have an input into that using the skills that I've got in business and the skills that I do on a day-to-day basis will help focus on the areas and the problems that need attention or areas that do need brushing up on. I'd like to participate in that process, and I also would like to maybe bring some new and innovative ideas to maybe generate cash for the area. There's been a lot of focus on certain things, and I noticed that the council has done good work with events recently such as Anston Fest. I think that that's a base to grow on, and I'd like to be a part of that. That's short and sweet, but any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillors, any questions?
There's two players not asking.
We're too intimidated.
Thank you very much. Again,
Thanks a lot.
because we're missing a few bits of paper, the clerk might have a couple of questions for you. And Elaine Moore.
Excuse me, does it exclude Elaine because she's not shown up? Pardon? She's not here. Oh, she's here. Oh, sorry, when did you come in?
It's because Chris was looking
I'll go out, so
that's
start again. Sorry, Elaine.
Or 17 stone on the
It's the white, please.
You see what you get yourself into.
I'll have Chris, whatever you have to drink, I'll have.
I've been looking for you for ages.
Quite a term, actually.
I'm sorry.
Feel free.
Right. Well, you know me, I'm Elaine Moore. I would like to say that over the past 5+ years, I have given my time to attend parish council's meetings on a regular basis, because I obviously have an interest in the parish where I live. As I have previously stated, my decision to apply to be a parish councillor is not just a sudden idea. It is a serious decision taken over time based on information I have assimilated, gleaned, by regularly attending meetings on the diverse areas covered by the council. If elected, I'm prepared to give my time in a serious and constructive capacity. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Any questions from councillors?
I noticed, yeah, sorry, I noticed you've not, we've not got an email address for you. Do you think that'll not be a problem if you were caught not having an email address?
Well, actually, you brought this up before. And to be quite honest, when it came out to apply, it wasn't down as a prerequisite that you have to have. I could, however, I do have an email somewhere, and I would be quite willing to learn.
It's just that I think it's extremely important that everybody is on an email address, because the vast amount of information that gets through, etc. If you're not on an email address, it's going to make it difficult, I think, actually to do the job. So to everybody really, you need to be not sitting there waiting for stuff to come through, but you're going to get it every day of the week, Monday to Friday, and sometimes Saturday and Sundays. So I think people just need to be aware that you've got to be on the ball, and I think you know, if you do get caught, we do need an email address.
Well, I shall get you one.
Okay, that's fine.
Any other questions? That's great. Thank you very much. So the clerk will just confirm with those of you where we're missing some information. Councillors, are you happy to go through into the middle hall and discuss the candidates? I just check nobody else sent in the form.
No.
Will you stay?
Yeah. Just to let you know, I choose not to go. I've said right from the beginning that anything I've got to say, I'll say it in front of you. It's not a big deal.
Don't forget me.
They don't talk about you. Well, not much. When did you come?
I thought you were stopping to put the kettle on.
Oh no, we don't do that. It's beer, only beer. When did you come in? You weren't here when I got here, were you?
No, I came in just after 22. because in my head the gym starts at 7, Wednesday at 7.
That's why I didn't see it. I was concentrating, you see.
I crept it in.
That's my story.
Agendas out. Is that because there aren't any this week?
Sorry, I'm a bit...
They've not handed any agendas out?
No, sure, but actually this is the co-op meeting. It's the people who have wanted to be co-opted tonight.
And that's all?
No, I'm 6 to 7. I said that to the council. I saw your faces when you came in. You thought it was coming too late.
I did.
Sorry about that. Did you just assume it was 7 o'clock?
We did, yeah.
Right. I'm just wondering if it's an error in advertising, is it?
No, we assume.
Well,
I think on the last agenda it said this meeting starts at 7. I think that's on the confusion that came in.
So
I got an email with the so yesterday it said 7.
Are you the...
Speak.
Are you the officer for...
Yes.
So, yeah, it's after.
I am. Well,
the others are because at the minute nobody's in charge of it, and it really bothers me because it is, yes. Would you really to be on the committee? Would you know how to them? Because none of them are experts.
Well, that's why I need I was on the ancestor committee along with
Yes. Have you heard this?
Yes.
His job is in land management. So he used to be and we're trying to tell him to come back, but he's very interested.
Yeah.
He's not willing to be carefully. I think when he petered it out, I'm not 100% sure.
I was thinking this morning when Sue was saying about letting the council
That wouldn't work. I'll tell you this now. No way. And it kills you first. Yeah, I want to left her. I can understand that. But we've got to get the open spaces put on the units and then maybe put it on there. So because I don't think once we get the maintenance schedule in place, I don't think we'll be able to do
I'm going to say
week
that,
to week.
that will confuse
It
me.
doesn't say an obligation one make up one the woodlands.
Yes.
Or it's inconsistent.
Oh, it's well, it's a true lesson for start. We've not got an accident agreement, such it's not safe. And also, we're all these rules and regulations. So, I mean, I'm willing, but I'm not against the two spiritual.
Yeah, well, the big thing is because they are
Oh, do they?
They are, the word design they are really keen to promote it.
It's going to take a week.
Some literature.
No, never have done.
Groundwork.
Yes. Yes, groundwork.
Yeah.
Groundwork.
Well,
you've got groundwork.
We've got business doing that. Just an engineering spark.
And the rules and regulations, yeah, but it's other stuff.
Which as a council we can't get into the council.
Oh, right, yeah. But we could.
Yes. Sometimes the council can get into it more than one council.
Right, yes.
And they look at funding pots and they can develop projects that might be funded. And then they'll so it might not
Yeah.
So
All right. Oh no, we've got to.
because they're not going to be glass.
Yeah, they've got to do a good job. But they worked on it. Yes, because they might be able to cost So that's the story about that, yeah.
I'm just getting out to get another fall and sort of feel like shit. That's all I felt. On my own. Another go. Oh, well, that's not right.
Busy day then.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know we're a little later. I know Councillor Sadler's just informed me that some people are waiting for a chance to speak. We will go into the public session, but we have to have the co-option meeting to fill vacancies on the council, so there will be an opportunity for everyone to speak during the public session, or as many people to speak as possible during the time that we've got for the public session, but we just need to press on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so the procedure is that I'll read out the names. Councillors will need to propose and second each candidate. If we have a proposer and a seconder for a candidate, then councillors will vote on that candidate. We'll then move on to the next candidate. If nobody proposes and seconds a candidate, then that particular candidate falls at that stage. If multiple candidates get through the process, then we'll effectively select people based on the number of votes that they've received. Any questions about that process? Okay. What I will say to people being co-opted, obviously we have more people standing for co-option than we have vacancies. We have had a resignation from council that I'll go on to later on. Unfortunately, one of the councillors isn't able to continue in his role. So therefore, that will mean that another vacancy for co-option is likely to arise over the next few weeks. So the opportunity will present itself again. Okay, so the first candidate is Diane Graham. Do we have a proposer and a seconder for Diane Graham? So John and Stuart for the first people. All those in favour? Is Philip Bowers. Proposer Jonathan.
Second.
Second Christine. All those in favour? Can you just show hands again, please?
Did you put yours up, Drew?
I did.
You did?
I did. The next candidate is Bernard. Stuart, do we have a second? Okay, that falls. Richard Wilkins. Proposed by Darren. Seconded by John. All those in favour? And the final candidate is Elaine Moore. Proposer and seconder. Stuart's hand was up first, so you're the proposer. Christine, you're seconding. All those in favour? So the results are, we've got 8 votes for Diane. Sounds like Eurovision, this, doesn't it? 8 votes for Diane. Sorry?
I don't sing.
You don't sing.
Oh, good.
I don't think we do either. So Diane Graham and Richard Wilkins have been selected this time. As I say, we all agreed actually that all of the candidates gave a very good presentation, and there will be another opportunity, most likely arising for co-option later on in the next couple of months. So thank you very much to all.
Can I suggest that when the other vacancy occurs, it won't be necessary for those who already asked to reapply? No, can we leave the application standing?
Can I just say, we had this situation before and there was a lot of confusion, and I think, unless the chairman disagrees, I think the general consensus is that if anybody else like to stand for the next vacancy, you will have to reapply. That way it ensures that we get the proper paperwork, because there's confusion over the paperwork last time. I think that's the fairest way to do it.
I think we did investigate this after the last one, and there is a requirement for them to reapply because they need to fill in the statutory questions. Perhaps, John, what we could do is we could keep their contact details and we can write to them.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. That's unfair.
2 seconds.
And it need not be necessary, as long as we all remember, it need not be necessary for those to give them the presentation.
Council's discretion. So we'll keep the details on record, and if another vacancy arrives or arises rather, then we'll write to those members of the public that the option this time, inviting you to stand again, but you need to fill in the form, and then council at the time will decide. So can I invite those? So the clerk will just get your contact details, and sorry, you got a question on the process?
No, I'd just like to thank the council for hopefully their patience. Thank you.
The check's in the post. I'll be leaving you now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, can we go into the public session? We haven't got, the clerk hasn't got the paperwork that they need to sign. So we've got to accept.
Separate for the legally banned.
Ah, right, okay.
So, we'll start off with the public session. Oh, we've got public session first. Yeah. We've got public session before guest speaker. Kevin.
Can you just confirm that when BW Railway were on, that the council receive any wristbands?
Councillors receive what?
Did the council receive any wristbands?
Yes.
Well, I didn't go, so I don't know.
I didn't use it.
No, were you issued any?
I wasn't.
There were only a few, I think.
Can you tell us any council?
Can I ask why you're asking?
I'll tell you why I'm asking you, Stuart. Simple fact of the case. I want to know whether or not this council were issued any wristbands from BW Society for the simple reason of it is, when preference offered this village a bench, it would turn down as an inducement. No, it's not slightly different, it's the same thing. You can't have a gift from one group and accept it, and return a gift from another group, which would have benefited all the members of the community, not just council.
Thank you very much for your question. We'll not enter into a question and reply. So the answer to that is yes. The VW Society gave some wristbands to the council, and then the clerk asked councillors if they wanted to take that.
Clerk never asked it not to.
Okay. Next question.
Did you go?
No, I was just looking on the agenda.
Sorry, can we just take the name for the...
It's Sandra Chilton. There's two items on the agenda about dogs on recreation grounds. One is to discuss fencing off play areas to exclude dogs on recreation grounds. So to understand from that, you're looking at where the children's play equipment is, so the rest of the park is open for everybody to use.
It's up for discussion by
the other one is
council.
to discuss
But the discussions that we've had so far would indicate that we'd be restricting access to the play areas.
To the children's area.
Just to the children's area, not
No.
the top of the field.
That's a discussion for council to have, but so far the only discussions that we've had have been to restrict access for dogs to the children's play area. Obviously, the council's within its power to restrict.
No, true.
So can I just get my point out before you answer the question? The other, on point 10.15, it says to discuss no dog sign on recreation ground. So is that the whole of the recreation grounds in Anston Parish, Rotherham, under Rotherham Borough Council, or is it around specific recreation grounds, or is it just that it's a typo and actually we've only got one point we're discussing, and that's the fencing for the children's play areas?
Councillor Sutton.
Do you want me to answer it now?
It's your point on the...
Yeah, you're right. Somebody got the idea that we could put a fence round or try and ban them from the children's play area, because we do get a lot of dog droppings. We do, and a lot of complaints, and we're trying to find a way around it, but failing. So I proposed that we ban dogs from the Anston Recreation Ground completely, because there's a path through to the wood that dog owners can use.
So that's the Anston record. So that's this.
It at the moment, it's just this one.
So if you have a dog and children.
Yes.
And you want your children to play on the park, that means you leave the dog at home.
Well, I've been in a lot of areas. And I've in fact been with my family in another part of the country with a dog, and they have been quite happy to leave their dog and go with their children into the children's play area. But it wasn't a ban on the field.
what they would have done, probably let the dog at home, because actually this family of mine that I'm talking about are the biggest complainers of dog droppings that their children have to contend with.
Christine, do you mind if I just interject? So we don't want to enter into a sort of question and answer about something that
that's the situation.
Because it will be, we'll be debating it. So in answer to your question, Christine's answered some of it. We obviously can't ban dogs from Rotherham's, from our NBC's parks, so it would just be anything relating to the estate that the council can control, and it would be up for the council to discuss which areas it wanted, if it wanted to exclude a dog walking at all. I'm sorry, I can't enter into that.
Right, I just wanted to clarify as to what is a Rotherham Park and what is an Anston Park, because it's all part of
Greenlands. Anston, the Greenlands Park is
Rotherham. This is Anston. The top of Rockwood Avenue is Anston. Whitegates is Anston.
I've got a list somewhere.
And I say I don't go with it.
It's only one person proposal as well.
Yes, it's got to be discussed and it's got to be voted.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do need to move on. I allow people to ask questions first because members of the public were all wanting to ask. We do have a presentation to get to. It will be something that we discuss when we get to that agenda item, so bear with us and we'll get to discuss it. Any other questions from members of the public? Thank you very much. And we have a presentation from Claire Mosley on Aston Stones Wood.
Can I stand here? I don't want to put it back to anybody.
Do you want a microphone?
Never know what you're going to do behind the back, so...
Do you want a microphone, Claire?
I'm sure you can... Yeah.
You've got to speak fairly close.
I'm used to shouting at people.
Yeah, some people aren't used to hearing.
Hello, my name's Claire Mosley. I work at
I think you better win that, Claire.
Ully Country Park and Thriver Country Park for Rotherham Borough Council, but also I'm a local. I'm up in Dinnington, but I do use this woodland quite a lot with my children. And over the past few years, I've been really involved in trying to get children and people into the Anston Stone Woods and to get them to appreciate it, and that way they're going to protect it. And a few years ago, I did something amazing and did a course on forest schools, which is, I will try and quote you what forest schools is an inspirational process that offers all learners regular opportunities to achieve and develop confidence and self-esteem through hands-on learning experience in a woodland or a natural environment with trees. So it's of all ages, trying to get children, adults, people with mental health problems, just people with disabilities, into a natural environment, and in a sense not being too hippie, but to relax and to feel it, and then gather their self-esteem by simple little projects. So I've been working with schools, and these simple little projects that they could do, and adults as well love this, are things like making a boat with a piece of string and wood and a bit of leaf, and it's amazing how quiet even children with ADHD will sit, and adults, because the teachers get really involved, and just sit there and make, and it is very therapeutic. So that's where I'm coming from, but why I'm here is I'm setting up my own business, and it probably will be eventually a social enterprise. At the minute I'm doing it as a limited company because of the fact that my husband has got a company, and it's just to share the kind of like legalities and the paperwork. And I'm building this up slowly to try and work with schools and the scouts and the children's centres, and I would like permission and discussion maybe at a later date from this meeting of my use of the woodland and what I could do and offer for the woodland as well. I've already said I'd willingly, and I have been in the Anston Stones Committee before, and I'll carry that on regardless. But I think I could bring in some events and people to share my passion and then to love it as a triple SI, because people don't know what triple SI is and they don't respect it, and if they don't know what a fantastic environment we've got, whether it's a park or a woodland, then they're not going to protect it. So that's really why I came here, to say who I am, and please use me, and if possible, if I could use it to teach kids and help, then I will do. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. We have one question, I think.
Excellent.
Yeah, I agree. We should encourage kids to look after woodland. My grandkids at the moment just say trees are boring because it's green and boring, but that's there, here and there. You mentioned the, should we say, the buzzword business, right? You're probably aware that the woods are a local nature reserve.
Yes.
They're a triple SI site.
Yes.
And as a council, we have to follow certain legislation. My thoughts on it are, is what we, if that's the way you want to go to work or do, should we say, business activities in the woods, it throws a whole new light on, well, first of all, it's never happened before, and it throws a whole new light. My suggestion would be, and I'm looking at the chair as others, what we would require before we go into any discussions would be a fairly detailed document of how, why, where, when, what, costings,
insurance.
Yeah.
Insurance and assessments and things like that. Probably not the risk assessments at the moment, but we'd end up having to fill in this risk assessment. I think as a council we need a document first, so we could look at it and then go into discussion. In principle, I don't see it as a problem, but it's a whole new area for us having businesses operating in the woods. That's all I'm going to say.
John? Sounds very straightforward.
My son's been on the Forest School at Ully quite a bit, on the Old Lake. Yeah, and it's really, really good. And it does actually get him involved in things that children sometimes find boring. And it's really well worthwhile. It's really good to bring it to Anston. Whether it's a business or not, it doesn't really matter, because children are not interested in whether it's a business or a service. So that's just in total support of the idea. It's really good.
I think the problem we've got is that the stones are a national treasure that can be used by anybody throughout the country. Unfortunately, it's only our parish that finances it. And this is why some people complain that we've got the highest village rate. It's because we cost 24 to 28,000 a year on that. Then what you've got to watch is that there's very little rule about individuals going down. They don't break any rules. But whether you could take a group is another matter. There's nothing on the deeds that say you can't go as a group. I don't think, not from my memory. But it's something you better be very careful to look into.
Yeah, because obviously I work within the council, and when we have people in the park, it is quite childminders use it.
Yeah, but the thing is that a park is a park. Yes. This is triple SI.
Oh, yeah.
And there are other things. I mean, it's cost us how much did it cost us to have the trees done over the railway line? 20,000?
10,000.
We had to, because the trees were overhanging the railway, we had to cut all the trees. 5,000 quid a tree.
That is obviously a benefit.
Yeah.
I did, environmental management. I'm well aware. I've worked in triple SIs. And one of the ethos is the Forest School is that you leave no trace. It is working with the environment, enhancing the environment, and making sure people enjoy it. So it wouldn't do anything that would go against everything that Forest Schools and my beliefs.
You wouldn't be cutting trees down to count the rings and say, oh, there, would you?
No.
Oh, that's all right.
No,
that's right.
definitely not. No, it's actually, we don't do anything. We don't pick anything that's alive. It's all about respecting and empathy.
A good idea.
For the sake of time in the public session, could Clive give you a question?
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, I know Claire from the Stoneswood Working Group, and I mean, anything I think we can bring somebody's expertise to help us with the stones. If it means bringing up another generation and respect it and look after it, then I'm all for it. I agree with Stu, we need something in front of us, but I think what you need to do is, I'm more than supportive of this. I think you need to put something together for us in a bit more detail so we can have a look at it and then hopefully move it on. But I'm conscious that we've I know the open space security is met and stuff like that. I don't know whether you were at that meeting on Tuesday. But there are a lot of people that used to be on that. And I think we need to get back on track with that because we've missed a year's maintenance and everything else down there. So we need to get back to anything that you can bring to it. I'm more than happy to have a look at support if we can. And it's really a question of when you can set, from my point of view, set a meeting up and come back in a bit more detail, and we'll see how we can progress it. So.
It's very easy to get things sliding because a year and a half ago we decided we'd have a group of wardens to go into Stone. Nothing's ever happened.
Yeah, I was in that meeting, and yeah.
And although we've got a list of at least 60 people who volunteered, we've never been contacted by council.
Did you, John? I never knew that.
Oh yeah, we've got at least 6 fellas who are willing to have a sweater on or a hat and walk down there and patrol the place.
Well, that's what we need, isn't it?
Oh,
yeah, that's for another day anyway.
It was just before you came on the council.
Right.
I have one more question from the councillor, and then are we okay to move on? Is anyone else?
Just a quick question. Is this business, will that be separate from RMBC?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
so,
yeah. And Kevin, who's manager there, he's willing to let me use the council land, the council as such, because they've seen all. But I want to keep it separate as well. So I am using some bits of the council, like I said, I did one at Ulla. And I have gone through all that legal things and insurance and documentation, but it is separate.
Is that coming back?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So I think the consensus here is that if you could send us a business plan or a proposal, and then we can look at setting up a meeting. So if you send that to the clerk, and then a member will put it on the agenda if there's anything that we need to do from there. Great, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I varied the order of the agenda so that we could allow people to speak. There are 2 other items that we need to have a quick look at. So do we have any representations regarding planning applications within the parish? Any questions about planning applications? This one. And we've got ward members present. So does anyone have a question relating to RMBC or any sort of Rotherham Metropolitan Borough Council?
My question is, why do we have an item on the agenda to allow the public to ask questions of RMBC councillors? I think this is a throwback to the latest. Because really, if members of the public have got questions that relate to Rotherham, they should be attending the council surgeries rather than
I agree.
Yes. Maybe it's
I think it's a legacy of years gone by. I don't think it's particularly relevant.
Oh, absolutely.
Jonathan Harvey, all 3 old surgeries. Telephone was their email addresses, so I don't see why we can't dispense with that.
At the moment it's there because it's in the standing orders, but if a member wants to propose that we change the standing orders...
That's a proposal that I'll deal with that now.
It's been in existence for at least 40 years.
Yeah. 40 years.
And even then, nobody can remember why it started.
Will it go on the agenda, Jonathan?
So Jonathan's going to put that on the agenda.
Okay.
For the next meeting. Okay, thank you very much. Just to summarise before we move into the meeting, I don't want to enter into a sort of a reply, but just to confirm to the ladies at the back there, with regards to dogs and banning dogs, the council hasn't made any decisions. It's an agenda that individual members of the council, if you've not been to meetings before, individual councillors can put things on the agenda for discussion, and then council makes a decision. So a member has put something on the agenda, but that doesn't mean that the council is going to act one way or the other. Thank you very much. So into the meeting itself, for absence.
Do you have any questions? No questions.
We have apologies from Councillor Bentley. Everybody willing to propose?
Sorry?
Propose that we accept apologies from Councillor Bentley. So Clive and Jonathan, all those in favour? Okay. Item 2. Any DPI or personal interest in any items to discuss? Jonathan?
There's just one of my items which is 9.7. it doesn't read exactly as a, all I meant with that was for information for us to consider, not to actually agree on any. It's one of the costs of the road closures.
I suppose we can take that.
Yeah, but it was meant just as information for councillors.
Okay. Stuart,
I personally go there. Can I just say 9.3 to consider or approve renewal of lease for Croydon? I would suggest that RMBC councillors need to declare an interest there and possibly leave the room because it involves contracts and finance.
I'll declare an interest, but I'm not doing I've got something about it.
Because at the end of the day, I think the last time we discussed this, RMBC councillors had a direct influence on the outcome of events.
I went to council then, and I went to council then, borough council. So, I'll declare an interest, but all I need to say on that is that we're only involved in policy decisions, not on day-to-day running of the council. And the officers of the council actually deal with the day-to-day running.
So, will
you believe in the rules open?
Clive won't believe.
No, I'll take the advice you took that we don't need to leave the room. So I can use the same week.
I'm not surprised if you go to the standards board.
And we can vote on whether members may be permitted to remain when we get to the item. We can do standing orders. Any other DPR or personal interest? Okay, thank you very much. Any items for which the press and public may be excluded? Stuart.
9.3, the issue of Crowgate, it's about the renewal of the lease, there's contractual and there's finance involved.
It's contractual with whom?
It's contractual between the parish council and RMBC.
Yeah, but that's one and the same, surely, at the end of the day. It's part of the government, we've not got outside contractors involved, and we're keeping too much information away from the residents. Why can't the residents say what has to be said about this Crowgate lease?
Right, it's a contract, and we never discuss contracts in public session. It's a contract between an independent body, the parish council, and an outside body, RMBC.
I agree, Stuart, but it's a contract that affects the residents, in particular of South Anston, but of both Anstons. It affects the residents. Don't we think it's contractual? It may be contractual, but we should be discussing it there should be some open forum to be discussing it with the residents.
No, because it's a parish council decision and the public will be informed of the decision.
Regarding this lease,
It's not a public decision.
we are discussing, do we have a copy of the lease itself that we will discuss the ins and outs and the actual cost and all the legalities, or are we just going to vote on discuss on the principle of it, and then once the principle of do we sign it or not and sort it out, then we can go into all the legalities later on. Is it what we vote on the principle or the whole legalities of it?
It's whoever put it on the agenda they wanted to raise. So I mean, I would propose we have had some discussions with RMBC. Personally, I don't believe that we're at the point where we could make a decision, but that's up to councillors to decide. As chair, I do intend to vary the agenda at that point so that we can clear some business and get that to the end of the meeting to before item 10. So can I propose that we tackle this item when we get to it in the agenda?
Yeah, progress, yeah.
Okay. Any other items that for which we should exclude the press and public? Thank you very much. So item 4, to confirm the minutes of the parish council meeting held on Monday the 18th of July 2016.
There's nothing.
18th of July.
Actually, minutes of the 3rd of August.
Okay. So not the 18th of July as it says in the agenda, but the 3rd of August 2016. And which is a Wednesday. Anything on page 1? And page 2. Can I have a proposal for second for those?
Sorry, Chair, can I just go?
Use the microphone, please.
Sorry. Christine, 9-8. I think I actually said I think Clark the Chief Constable and the Crown Commission, because Stephen said, why else he had written to the committee you went to about the remembrance day resources, and I was going to write to Inspector Fennell that Malcolm was involved in discussions for the policing for those two there. So it's not quite correct, and it's the intention is the same, but it's just how it's set out. I was going to write to the inspector that I lived with the area assembly. Just update on that. I've been to him, but I've not had a response. I'm just going to get reminded tomorrow. But I think if I did the instance was going to fly on behalf of the council to the the new Chief Constable and the Crown Commission. Yes, well, I got that was there. You were going to write to him, well, whatever. Right, okay, that's fine. I think you should follow that well. I mean, you can leave it as a thing if you would just as long as not something like to
Proposed, yeah. Second, please. Colin, all those in favour? Thank you very much. I have still dated the minutes. Item 6, we don't actually have anything. Because we just... any new ones that we get go to the Grants Committee. The Grants Committee had delegated power from Council to dispose of the grants from the last meeting, so nothing comes back to Council on those. Item 7, to consider planning and licensing matters, transport issues, and to receive reports. So number 1, which is the proposed diversion of public footpath number 14.
Can I say that this is the RBC writing to us last week we agreed, and I think they wanted an answer before a planning application, which is a bit strange. They're asking us to approve a diversion at Harry Croft. I've looked at the diversion, and for those that the letter's not through, they're proposing to do away with the red line and divert the footpath along the blue line, which is about 4 or 5 times the distance. But what they don't make clear is where is the limit of the future quarry going to begin and end. I think it does say that the it doesn't really make it clear where the footpath is in relation to the new proposed diggings.
On page 1, Stuart, it says the works will not be exceeding their current boundary.
Right, so this is where I'm puzzled, because if they're not going to exceed the current boundary, why do we have to divert the footpath?
Because it's on the perimeter where they're going to be mined.
Well, they just said they're not.
They're not going to exceed it. What I'm saying is you're going to quarry up to it.
Yeah, and they haven't. So
sorry, ladies and gents, we've got 2 councillors who have raised their hands. So it's Clive and Jonathan.
I presume Jonathan's had a separate letter like down.
Yeah, it's virtually the same.
Just for my comments, I've sent them on. I went to the Harry Croft presentation the other week, and if you can see the red line, the area we're going to be starting quarrying is that area there, which is up to where I think it's where the existing red footpath is, in that area. So what they wanted to do is to move it to the west. Is it west? Let me get me north. Yeah, north-east line, to go around there and bypass where we're going to be working. And this is in advance of the application. What I will do at the next meeting, I'll bring, I did ask Tarmac to send the clerk copies of all their proposed workings, etc. for the new application, so we've got a full set of information. I presume that you might have anything to look at. I'll give you the guys, if you speak to Mike, it's David Atkinson still, that said he was going to send it to me. So it's going to go on that blue there. My points were, obviously where that new blue line is, the new footpath, is where the exit from the quarry is. So you can have a pedestrian vehicular conflict at that point, as far as I can see. So I've asked them to clarify how they intend to manage that, because that's the access out onto Workshop Road there, which comes from I can't remember the name of the farm down there, Anston Parish farm, which looks around there, and that out onto the A57. So it's a big shared access. So my concern is where that's going and how it's going to work with pedestrians. I've not had a response yet from Jodie Allred, should Jodie Allred or Jane Donaldson to do it. So that's, I'll send my comments in. I've not had anything back from RMBC yet, so I will bring you the documents down.
So Jonathan wants to update the job.
If you read the actual letter itself, it's the line which on mine is in grey, but the one which is the diversion, that is actually diverted at the moment. It's been diverted for about 15 years. That's a temporary diversion that came in when we started quarrying. I know because I've mounted back down there, probably not correctly on the footpath.
It was changed when they agreed. Oh, sorry.
And so that was a temporary diversion which has been in for numerous years. The red line is the original path. So all they wanted to do is permanently change the diversion. That path has been there for 15 years.
It will, but that's the quarry's not been worked since then, has it? So what you've had is that path has been running across the entrance, but with no vehicles in and out. That's going to change as soon as.
Yeah, but it's just to change the diversion. It's been there for years.
How they manage that.
Yeah, when they applied many years ago to extend the quarry, that's when they made temporary adjustment to the path. It's been temporary to my knowledge, for at least 14 years. And all they're doing is just firming it up.
Yeah, they turn it into a permanent diversion.
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
So, yeah, you're right about this temporary foot. This is not the first time this footpath's been diverted. It seems to come up, well, I say not quite often, but it comes up on a regular basis. But as I said before, I find this a bit odd is that we're being asked to agree a footpath diversion before the planning application is even being put in. Can I make a proposal that we write back to Julie Hall Road, we write back and say we acknowledge the letter, however, the council wishes to refer judgment, reserve judgment until we see the full planning application. And then when we get the full plan application in front of us to discuss, I think that's when we can make a decision whether it's going to be good or bad for people in the village. That's a proposal.
I'll second that.
Oh, yeah. No, I think so. We're done. All we're doing is we've been asked to change this temporary pit to being a permanent. It's been temporary for 12, 14 years. Yeah. So what difference is it going to make?
Right, can I ask you then, how far are they planning to, or proposing to do the new works?
Well, the new works
away from.
You don't know because you haven't seen the plan application.
Away from that blue line.
Yeah, but have you seen the application or whether it's from the decision made? The rest of the councils haven't. Well, I'm not saying we don't do it, I'm just saying we should reserve judgment until we see the full planning application.
But the path is temporary diverted at the moment, so that temporary diversion will stand.
Is this wording on the planning application is being requested to extend the duration of planning permission?
Yes, it's not extended inside.
It's the life, you know what planning permission is being given, all they want to do is extend it.
It is to extend the current planning.
Yeah, which is done at least twice before.
Nothing's going to change this.
No. It's another 15 years.
The outline of the quarry is staying the same.
It's staying the same.
It's just the length, it's the duration of the time that they're wanting to quarry for.
Just to reply to this, I understand what you're saying, but I see where you're coming from. By mere virtue that we're being asked to change the footpath, something must be changing. It's not staying the same if we're being asked to move the footpath.
It's staying the same as the temporary diversion is going to be permanent. So it's been in use many years. It's just firming up that will be the new permanent footpath and not temporary one.
So we've got a proposal on the table which is to write to them and say that we defer judgment basically until we've seen the full applications planning. It's proposed and seconded. Question?
I just want to throw something here. I'm just reading it there. It just says, as the works will not be exceeding a front boundary, diverted route should remain free. So if it's not exceeding it, why does it need to change it? To make it permanent, it's temporary.
It's temporary, it's been
because it's going to be another 15 years live. They want to, you can only have a temporary diversion, I think, for so long. At some point you have to probably make it permanent by law. So, yeah, but why can't that be, why can't the temporary route be the permanent route?
That's what
No, that was the original line. That's the temporary blue line. They wanted that to become permanent. That's not in use anymore. It's been diverted. So that's so what they want to do. Well, it does and it doesn't. It's still in place. But
what I'm asking for it to be deferred until we see the full plan application, so everybody's clear on what we're looking at and what we're looking at. Now, the mere fact that we're explaining to each other what's what, we really need to look at the plan application.
Okay, ladies and gents, do we have any final comments before we vote on that proposal? So just to confirm, the footpath that's there at the moment, they're asking to make that the permanent footpath, but it's been there for the last 15 years.
It doesn't help when members have got it in black and white, not colour.
Any further?
That's the just original one.
Yeah.
That's the diverted one. We wanted to make that permanent. So the blue one on the origin, and the other one, yeah, is the current.
Can we have the colour
track? Yes, and it's all permanent.
Let's proceed to the vote. So all those in favour of just...
You've not got a second yet. Did you have a seconder?
I thought you seconded it, Chris.
No,
I
actually,
didn't.
I was going to second it, to be perfectly honest, but I was unaware until you mentioned it after about the boundary. And now I know about the boundary, it's answered the question, so I don't need the answer from my
Okay, do we have a seconder for Stuart's proposal? Colin. Okay. And all those in favour? Against? So, do we have a new proposal? From anyone? So we do nothing, or we accept this letter? We need to reply to them.
I propose that we accept it.
Okay. So Christine proposes that we accept a seconder. Darren?
Accept it.
Yeah. Okay. So we need to go to the vote. So it's proposed and seconded.
Before we go to the vote, Councillor Wright, we're voting to accept the letter. And this is where we need to be tying things up a bit more. We're voting to accept the letter, but in the letter, it's asking you a question. So if you just vote to accept the letter, you're taking no action whatsoever. And they're asking whether you wish the footpath, or they're asking for your comments on whether you wish the footpath to follow its original route or follow the diversion. So you have to make another proposal if you wish it to be made permanent.
Can I propose that we contact our meeting and say that we're prepared to accept the diverted footpath as the new permanent?
I'll second that.
Okay, so Christine's proposal was amended.
I'm voting on it.
I'm going to vote on it.
That first one doesn't exist anymore.
So the question that it's saying is, are you happy with the proposal and do you have any comments? So we're basically just voting to say that we're happy with the proposal, we don't have any comments.
Chair, can we make it clear that if you try to walk the old footpath, you'll fall into quarry? That's right, isn't it? It don't exist anymore.
Because that's not there. Okay. So our proposal is to receive the letter and to confirm that the council has no objections to the proposal. Is that, are you happy with that as the wording?
Being temporary for 15 years.
Yeah, they'll maintain it.
Okay, just so that's the question.
All those in favour? Two planning lists, so there's RE 2016-0962, removal and installation of pole. Any comments on that?
Can I
make a proposal that we accept this list, because time's getting on with it, and there's nothing really contentious tonight.
Yeah. Just the tower is 3.5 metres big.
Can I just ask a question? First of all, it says it's on Torbit Road, Dinnington. Is it actually in Anston Parish? Do we know where exactly? The board says it is.
Well, that's
It's in the board, it's not in the parish. Do we know which one it is?
I can't remember seeing this one. Just that, well, okay, so you said removal and installation. Oh, I can't.
I've got a feeling this may be somewhere near the industrial estate.
Well, that would be someone to plan for the position too.
This is
honestly, this is good.
So why are we discussing it?
But doesn't Toby Road go all the way to the top?
Sorry? Can I make a proposal that if individual councillors wish to make an objection, we do so as an individual?
Is that already put a proposal on the table from Colin, which is just to accept basically? So
I'll second that.
Colin's proposal was to accept the whole list.
Yep. I'll second that.
I don't think that's right, because you can't just accept planning proposals en masse, because people may wish to, because what will happen now is, if your issue is seconded, what will then by the second orders? It's been seconded. So now we have a problem, is that individual councillors will only be able to speak once on the whole of these planning applications, which is like...
They go on to the planning portal with comment.
Is what, sorry?
They can go on to the planning portal.
Yeah, they can, but what I'm saying is by doing it, by proposing to receive all these planning applications en bloc, you're preventing individual councillors as part of the corporate body from expressing...
Well, not really, because they vote against it.
I agree with Stuart. I think you should go by number, but that would mean, I think we treat them all as neighbours and planners, but I think you have to go through each list and say that rather than just say list 31 to 34, wave it through.
Proposal still on the table. Does anyone believe that any of the items on the agenda are specifically contentious?
Well, I've been reading on the planning board for this afternoon, the one on list 32, actually dwelling house removed from the hillside, that has raised comments from neighbours, and the highways have asked that to be resubmitted because of the comments they've made, so that is
one to discuss.
That's probably one to discuss.
In that case, can we vote on Colin's proposal? Is that all right with everyone?
I'll second it.
It's been seconded.
Oh, right.
All those in favour of Colin's proposal? Right. All those against? In that case, we'll go with the status quo. So we'll go through each one in turn. Okay. List 31.
This is last one. Neighbours and planners.
Neighbours and planners. So Clive, you're proposing that that be left to neighbours and planners. Do we have a second?
If anybody wants to comment.
Sorry, it says list 31, that's the... Which one?
That's the poll.
That's the poll.
0960.
Good, so we are.
I don't know. I'll look at that one. Some of that falls in Anston.
No, falls in Anston. There's a look that
falls in Anston, where's the mass?
This is why I suggested if we make individual comments, if councillors wish, you can look on the internet and get all that.
South Yorkshire Caravans is in Dinnington, because they advertise it as Dinnington.
That's why I believe the mass.
Toby Road goes all the way to
When you see, we remove the existing pole, so we go in there and we look for a 33-foot pole.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you're going to put 3 metres on top.
Yeah, I'm going to put 40 foot. I don't think there's any. But they're going to extend it, it's going to be 40
foot.
Can I propose that we leave that to neighbours and planners? Any council wants to just check it out?
If nobody's seen it, I don't think you should bother about it. quite
Can we move to a vote?
That's why I made the proposal. If you can't see it now, you're not going to see it then, are you?
Can we move to a vote on that? If it's proposed and seconded, that we leave it to neighbours and planners. All those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. On to list 32, which is the rear extension of 6 Begonia Close South. Any comments? Jonathan?
No, just probably
leave it to neighbours and planners.
Leave it to neighbours.
Any other comments?
No.
Second of that? Okay, Darren, all those in favour? Okay. 0974, which is the erection of a dwelling house to the rear of 3 Hillside North Street. I think Clive, you had a point there, didn't you?
Yeah, it was just that the consultation and that closed on the 2nd of September, so we're actually that week out of but if anybody wants to make any comments, but I've had a look at it and it has changed since the last application. But the highways have made comments on the website and asked for some work to be done to the application, so it's going to be tweaked. So I think again, again I would leave it neighbours and planners, yeah.
We have discussed this before.
Yeah, it's a reapplication.
It's a reapplication, but just go back, if we'd have accepted all these planning applications in mass, we would have missed the point on this one that this is actually a conservation area. And I think as a parish council, if a planning application comes in within a conservation area, I think we have an obligation, I'm going to say duty, but I think it's different. I think we have an obligation to consider issues that are in the conservation area. We would have missed the opportunity to do that today if council wished. So
Could I just make the point that RMBC will deal with all conservation matters and there's no urgency for us to worry about that. That's my opinion.
Sorry, I apologise, I missed the first part. What did you say?
Because RMBC will look at all the conservation laws, they will deal with any of those, and I'm sure they know more about it than I do.
Can I just make a point, actually, that we're assuming, or I'm certainly assuming, that these papers have been served on us for some time. I'm assuming that all councillors have read the papers in advance of the meeting and have investigated. I certainly have looked at these on the planning portal, and we're expecting other councillors to have done this as well. So we don't actually have to engage in a debate about that. If we're all happy that we've investigated them and that we don't see any issues with them, then we can move it, vote on it without any extensive debate.
The issues on that one were access off hillside last time, but that's been addressed in the second planning application, so that again is... Well, it's been addressed by the planning application, but highway still aren't happy with the access onto the main street, so they kicked it back again for a revised plan, so it's back again, I think, with the applicant, so...
Have we made a proposal?
Yeah,
so it's proposed, it's been seconded.
What was the proposal, sorry?
I'm just going to leave it to neighbours and planners.
All those in favour of leaving it to neighbours and planners? Thank you very much. Okay. 0886, demolition of existing store and erection of 3 detached bungalows for the Hillcrest. Any comments?
Is everybody aware that this is not Hillcrest, this is Hillcrest at the top of Dog Kennel?
No,
the name of the property is a big, if everybody's looked, it's a big open area at the back, it's not going to affect anything.
They've already built 3 on
the other side.
Yeah, at the back end.
Proposal?
It is ready.
A second?
They look very good.
Okay, Darren proposed Christine, that's what I'm saying, Stuart. Christine, apologies Christine. Second, all those in favour? Thank you very much. List 33, which is 1055, it's the garage and the extension on Patterdale Way, Northampton.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Stuart, both by Clive, all those in favour?
I was only moved it.
List 34, there are no items. Interestingly, it had the same effect as Colin's original proposal. 8, to authorise seeking the documents of exclusive rights to them. Do you have any? We don't have any, it's always good to hear. 9 to consider matters from previous meetings, so 9.1, which is approved expenditure for rubberised sheeting to metal panels on the goalposts at Lockwood Park. So this is following the meeting with the Environmental Health. It was recommended that the council investigate putting some rubberised sheeting on the goalposts in that park. And we've sought quotes, but the quotes aren't back with us yet. So that's the background. Chris, you were first, and then Stuart.
Am I missing something? Have we had information about this? So how can we decide?
Because it's on the agenda.
So, because
it's on the agenda. It's deferred from the last meeting.
Yes, but have we had any information as a council on the meeting, who was there, what was said, why the decision was taken? Have I missed it?
The decision hasn't been taken, so...
Have we had information? It's the fact that I don't know what we're talking about.
This is Lockwood Park.
Yes.
Show the residents that were putting in complaints about noise.
Yes.
We had a meeting in the hall next door
yes.
with Environmental Health.
That's the last I heard.
Yeah. Well, we had a meeting in there. Environmental Health there. The police were there. At the end of that meeting, we went up to Lockwood.
Did you make a report to the council of that meeting that you had up at Lockwood?
We didn't.
Did it come back to the council?
Council President.
Sorry?
Are you talking about the Borough Council, Chris?
No, I'm talking about after we'd had the meeting in the little hall with our MBC and the police.
Yes.
Some people who were in there went to Lockwood.
Yes, we did.
But the ones who didn't go.
At the last meeting, I made a verbal report.